Good afternoon everyone. Myself Dr. Sejal Gamit, Assistant Professor in Pathology. Today I am going to discuss about cell adaptation. Now, the objectives of my lectures are, at the end of the lecture, you are able to define homeostasis, adaptation, cell injury and cell death, and able to describe cellular adaptive changes that include hypertrophy, hyperplasia, atrophy and metaplasia. So, the overview of cellular response to stress and noxious stimuli. What is the consequence when the cell is exposed to stress and noxious stimuli? These changes include homeostasis, adaptation, cell injury and cell death. So what is homeostasis? The cells are normally actively participants in their environment, constantly adjusting their structure and function to accommodate the changing demand and extracellular stress. The cells normally maintain this steady state that is called homeostasis. Now, what is adaptation? Adaptation are reversible. Remember the term reversible. The changes are reversible. A reversible functional and structural response to more severe physiological stress and pathological stimuli during which the cell achieved a new stage. Okay, why the cell achieved this new state? Because by achieving this state, the cell escaped from the injury and able to survive and continue to function. Cell injury. The cells have a limited capacity for adaptation. If the limit of adaptive response exceeds, or if the cells are exposed to injurious agents and stress for a prolonged duration, a consequence of events follow that is termed as cell injury. And finally, the cell death. What is cell death? Is an end result of progressive cell injury. So, this is the general view. Whenever the cell is exposed to any type of stress or noxious stimuli, the cells try to adapt or try to meet the increased demand by undergoing hypertrophy or hyperplasia, means by undergoing adaptive change. When the cells cannot adapt to meet the demand, okay, it will lead to cellular injury. The injury will be of two types, reversible and irreversible. If you remove the stimuli, the changes are reversible in case of reversible injury, while in case of irreversible cell injury, it will lead to cell death in the form of apoptosis and necrosis. So we will see about cellular adaptation to stress. Now, adaptation are reversible changes either in the number, size, metabolic activity or function of the cells in response to changes in their environment. There are two types of cellular adaptation, that is physiological adaptation and pathological adaptation. Now, what is physiological adaptation? It usually represents responses of the cell to normal stimulation. Remember, it is the response of the cell to normal stimulation, that is by the hormones or by our endogenous chemical mediator. The example of physiological adaptation is the hormonally induced enlargement of the breast and uterus during pregnancy. Now, what is pathological adaptation? Pathology means always abnormal. Pathological adaptations are responses to stress that allow the cells to modulate their structure and function and thus escape from the injury. Means the pathological responses are always the responses to the stress or any abnormal stimuli. So which are the adaptive changes? There are four types of adaptive changes, that is hypertrophy, hyperplasia, atrophy and metaplasia. These are the reversible adaptive changes which are all reversible if you remove the stimuli. Why the cell undergo this type of adaptive changes? Because by undergoing these adaptive changes, the cells try to escape from the cell injury, so it will able to continue to function and able to survive. So what is hypertrophy? Hypertrophy is increase in size of the cell resulting in increase in the size of the organ. So in another way, the pure hypertrophy, there are no new cells, just the bigger cells that contain increased amount of structural proteins and organelles. Hypertrophy occurs only in the organ which have a limited capacity to divide. So the hypertrophy again of two types, physiological and pathological. What is physiological hypertrophy? We have already seen this. Physiological means it is the response to any hormone or endogenous stimulus. Okay, so the example of physiological hypertrophy is the massive physiological enlargement of the uterus during pregnancy as a consequence of estrogen stimulated smooth muscle hypertrophy. What is the example of pathological hypertrophy? In response to increased demand, the striated muscle, the cells in our body that have limited capacity to divide are the striated muscle of the skeletal muscle, and another is the cardiac muscle which have limited capacity to divide. So whenever there is a increased demand in case of striated muscle, like in skeletal muscle, mostly in the athletics, okay, the skeletal muscle and the heart can undergo only hypertrophy. An example of pathological cellular hypertrophy is the cardiac enlargement that occurs with the hypertension and aortic valve disease. Now, generally what occurs in the hypertension and aortic valve disease? In the aortic valve disease, there is generally stenosis of the aortic valve. Okay, and in the hypertension, there is narrowing of the vessels due to the pressure. So, what occurs in the hypertension and aortic valve disease? The heart has to pump against the increased peripheral resistance, either due to the hypertension and aortic valve disease, to meet the increased demand of the tissue. So it will ultimately lead to hypertrophy of the left ventricular valve. So it is the hypertrophy of the left ventricular valve is the adaptive response to increase the demand of the tissue in case of hypertension and aortic valve disease. Now what occurs? There is a hypertrophy. What is the result of hypertrophy? There is increased synthesis of more proteins and myofilament per cells, which increases the force that generated along with each contraction that enable the cells to meet the increased work demand. Also, there are another type of changes. There is switch of contractile protein from adult to fetal form. Like alpha myosin heavy chain is replaced by beta myosin heavy chain that is present in the newborn that produces slower but more energetically contraction. But whatever the exact mechanism of hypertrophy, a limit is reached. Okay, there is in case of left ventricular hypertrophy, a limit is reached beyond which the enlargement of the muscle mass or the left ventricular hypertrophy can no longer compensate for the increased burden. So when this happens in the heart, okay, several degenerative changes occur in the myocardial fiber, of which the most important changes are the fragmentation and loss of myocardial contractile elements. So what is the net result of this fragmentation of myocardial protein? The net result of these changes is ventricular hypertrophy is now followed by ventricular dilatation and ultimately cardiac failure. This sequence easily illustrates that how an adaptation to stress, means hypertrophy to stress, can progress to functionally significant cell injury, means hypertrophy now lead to dilatation and ultimately cardiac failure if the stress is not removed or if the stress is not corrected, if the hypertension or aortic disease not corrected. So this is the example of hypertrophy. In the first figure you can see there is a normal morphology of the myometrium, while in case of the left figure you can easily see there is increase in the size of the cell. That is the example of hypertrophy of the uterine muscle. It is the physiological phenomena. This is the pathological example of hypertrophy. In the left you can easily see the normal thickness of the left ventricular wall, that is 1.5 to 2.5. Okay, while in case of right figure you can easily see, in the left figure you can easily see there is hypertrophy of the left ventricular wall due to the any underlying previous condition. Okay, this is the microscopic morphology of the heart. In the first figure you can easily see the normal myocardial fibers. Okay, while in case of the next figure you can easily see there is increase in the size of individual myocardial fibers, that is called as hypertrophied myocardium. Now what is hyperplasia? Hyperplasia take place if the tissue contains cell populations capable of replication. Means the cells or tissue which are capable of underlying replication that will undergo hyperplasia. It may occur concurrently with hypertrophy and often in response to the stem stimuli. So basically hyperplasia is increase in number of cells. Now it is again of two types, physiological and pathological. So what is the example of physiological hyperplasia? Again physiological hyperplasia are of two types, hormonal hyperplasia and compensatory hyperplasia. Now what is the example of hormonal hyperplasia? Is the proliferation of the glandular epithelium of female breast at puberty and during pregnancy is the example of hormonal hyperplasia. There is increase in the number of breast glandular epithelium of the breast during pregnancy is the example. What is compensatory hyperplasia? It occurs when the residual tissue grows after removal or loss of a part of an organ. The example is when a part of liver is resected, the mitotic activity that is present in the remaining portion begins as early as possible and eventually restoring the liver to its normal weight. So it is called as compensatory hyperplasia. What is the example of pathological hyperplasia? Pathological hyperplasia is caused by excessive or abnormal hormonal or growth factor stimulation. Examples are the epithelial hyperplasia and connective tissue hyperplasia. Now, the epithelial hyperplasia, example of epithelial hyperplasia is uterine epithelial hyperplasia, increase in the number of smooth muscle of the uterus. That is the example of epithelial hyperplasia. Normally, the uterine epithelial proliferation is regulated by stimulation through pituitary hormone and ovarian estrogen and inhibition through progesterone. But whenever there is a disturbance between the estrogen and progesterone, causes endometrial hyperplasia, which is a common cause of abnormal menstrual bleeding. Connective tissue hyperplasia. Hyperplasia is also an important response of connective tissue in case of wound healing, in which there is increase in number of fibroblasts and blood vessels which help in repair. Hyperplasia can also occur in certain viral infections. An important point is that in all of these situations, the hyperplastic process remain controlled. Okay? If the signals that initiate the changes is abate, the hyperplasia disappear. Means the changes are reversible. In many cases, sometimes a pathological hyperplasia constitute a fertile soil in which cancer may eventually arise. Like in example, the hyperplasia of endometrium, the patient with the hyperplasia of endometrium are at risk of developing endometrial cancers. This is the example of hyperplasia of prostate. First one is the normal figure of the normal prostate, while in the other figure you can easily tell is there is nodular hyperplasia of the prostate. This is the microscopic view of endometrium. Okay, in the first figure you can see there is normal endometrium, while in the case of second figure you can easily see there is increase in number of gland compared to stroma, that is termed as hypertrophy. Now, what is atrophy? Atrophy is the shrinkage in the size of the cell due to the loss of cell substance is known as atrophy. When a sufficient number of cells are involved, the entire tissue or organ diminishes in size and become atrophic. Although atrophic cells may have diminished function, they are not dead. Now, what are the examples of physiological atrophy? It is the senile atrophy of brain, atrophy of gonads after menopause, and atrophy of lymphoid tissue in lymph nodes and spleen. Which are the pathological example of atrophy? Disuse atrophy, which occur in a decreased workload, like immobilization of a limb to permit healing of a fracture. For a long time, it will decrease your workload, which ultimately lead to atrophy of that organ. Loss of innervation, loss of nerve supply, as in case of poliomyelitis, motor neuron disease, okay, and nerve section, which ultimately causes atrophy. Diminished blood supply. The blood supply may be diminished due to the atherosclerosis of the artery. So, atherosclerosis of the artery will causes atrophy of the particular organ which is involved by the atherosclerosis. Inadequate nutrition, like In case of inadequate nutrition, there is first depletion of the carbohydrate, protein and followed by protein catabolism. So ultimately all these causes inadequate nutrition and ultimately atrophy. Loss of endocrine stimulus and aging, senile atrophy. These are some of the example of pathological atrophy. Sometimes the pressure can also causes atrophy, like the deposition or the formation of tumor at one place causes pressure atrophy of the adjacent organ. So what is the mechanism of atrophy? It consists of combination of decreased protein synthesis and increased protein degradation. So protein synthesis is decreased because of reduced metabolic activity, while there is increased degradation of the cellular protein. The degradation of the protein occur mainly by ubiquitin proteasome pathway. Now, the nutrition deficiency and disuse may activate ubiquitin ligase, which attach multiple copies of small peptide ubiquitin to cellular proteins and target this complex for the degradation in the proteasome, which causes degradation of the protein. In many situations, atrophy is also accompanied by increased autophagy. Now, what is autophagy? It is a self-eating. It is the process in which the starved cell eats its own component in attempt to survive. So this is the example of muscle atrophy. In the first figure you can see there is a normal muscle, while in the another figure you can see due to the denervation there is a atrophy, there is decrease in size of the muscle, is a atrophy of the muscle. This is the senile atrophy of the brain. First one is the normal figure of the brain, whereas in the second figure you can easily see there is a dilatation of the gyri as well as sulci. Now, what is metaplasia? Metaplasia is a reversible change in one adult type. Remember the word adult cell type. Either epithelial or mesenchymal is replaced by another adult type, epithelial or mesenchymal cell. In this type of cellular adaptation, a cell type sensitive to particular stress is replaced by another cell type better able to withstand the adverse environment. There are two types of metaplasia, epithelial as well as mesenchymal. So what is the example of epithelial metaplasia? There is a squamous gene that occur in the respiratory epithelium. Normally what occurs? The respiratory epithelium is lined by pseudostratified tall columnar ciliated epithelium. What occurs in the habitual cigarette smoking? This epithelium is now replaced by squamous epithelium. The normal ciliated columnar epithelium of the respiratory epithelium is replaced by stratified squamous epithelium in case of chronic cigarette smoking. Now, this metaplastic squamous epithelium may be able to survive the noxious chemical that is present in the cigarette smoke. Although the metaplastic squamous epithelium has survival advantages against the noxious chemical in cigarette smoke, important protective mechanisms are lost, such as mucus secretion and ciliary clearance of the particular matter, which is done by columnar epithelium. So epithelial metaplasia is a double-edged sword. Moreover, if the stimulus that produces metaplastic change, if persists, may predispose to malignant transformation of the epithelium. Another example of epithelial metaplasia is in case of chronic gastric reflux, the normal stratified squamous epithelium of the lower esophagus may undergo metaplastic transformation to gastric or intestinal type of columnar epithelium, that is also termed as Barrett's esophagus. Another is the mesenchymal metaplasia. Metaplasia may also occur in the mesenchymal cells, but in this situation it is generally a reaction to some pathological alteration and not an adaptive response to stress. The example is the formation of bone in soft tissue, particularly in the foci of injury. So this is the example of metaplasia. You can easily see the columnar epithelium is replaced by squamous epithelium, that is called as squamous metaplasia, respiratory epithelium. Finally is the dysplasia. What do you mean by dysplasia? It means disordered cellular development. It is often accompanied by hyperplasia and metaplasia. It is characterized by proliferation of the cells and certain cytological changes. The cytological changes in the dysplasia include pleomorphism, nuclear hyperchromasia, mitosis and loss of basal polarity. These changes, the dysplastic changes, may be reversible if you remove the stimuli or may progress to higher grade of dysplasia and ultimately lead to carcinoma in situ as well as invasive carcinoma. This is the example, or this is the stages of dysplasia. You can see normal cell may become cancer cell. First one is the normal figure. On exposure to continuous stimuli, it will causes hyperplasia of the cell, means increase in number. But this hyperplasia may become a fertile soil for the development of cancer. The dysplasia is the pre-malignant stage in which there is increase in the cellular proliferation as well as cytological changes. In third figure, you can easily see there is a loss of basal polarity as well as the cell size is increased, pleomorphism, hyperchromasia, okay, and also there is increase in the mitosis activity, which ultimately dysplasia will lead to in situ and ultimately invasive cancer. So this is the summary of my lecture. The cellular adaptation to stress that include hypertrophy, hyperplasia, atrophy and metaplasia. These all are changes are reversible. If you remove the stimuli, these all changes are reversible. What is hypertrophy? It's generally increase in the size of the organ. Hyperplasia is generally increase in number of the organ. Atrophy is decrease in cell size and organ due to loss of cellular substance, and metaplasia is usually the replacement of one type of adult epithelial or mesenchymal cell by the another adult type of epithelial or mesenchymal cells. And finally, the dysplasia is disordered cellular development. Thank you.